Good morning, everybody. This is Dan O'Mac back with another video. This topic I want to talk about today is factions being reborn in the WWE. Recently, we've seen in recent weeks a gentleman called, I believe, A.W. Washington recruiting talent. He's recruited Epico and Primo, I think Mason Ryan, and a lot of guys right now who are just sitting in the back doing nothing. And we've seen them during different matches watching from the back or in a skybox, and I think it's great. And what I would like to see is for Vicky Guerrero to get a couple more guys, or even if we start getting some manager wars where Vicky and AW are competing for talent. But I'd love to see Vicky, get a couple more people, and then she has a full stable, and then AW has a full stable. And Teddy Long right now, he's just being treated as a joke with Laurinaitis. He's just Laurinaitis's patsy, and I don't know if the plan is to eventually give Teddy Long back the power, where right now Laurinaitis is torturing him, making him look like a joke, and then eventually building to that moment where Teddy Long can smack him and then once again have the power. But if not, I would love to see Teddy Long maybe as a manager, start his own faction stable. But if we have AW stable and Vicky stable, then I think if they can throw in maybe a few more people, like 2 more managers, each with their own stable, that would make things really interesting. I think the stables can definitely make matches more interesting, just one-on-ones on Raw. We can have someone from this stable versus someone from this stable, and some sort of bragging rights or something on the line, and it just makes things more interesting. So I really like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I really like what they're doing with the stables right now, how they're building AWs, and how if Vicky pumps up hers a little bit more, they maybe get a couple more stables going. It'll be really fun to watch, and I think it'll make Survivor Series a little more entertaining, because now we can see the stables go at each other for some sort of big prize, Also tag teams. Tag team wrestling was so entertaining back when, we had the Hardys and Edge and Christian and the Dudleys, and it just doesn't, WrestleMania proved it. We didn't have the tag champs on the WrestleMania card. They did the pre-show when, Zack Ryder versus Kane, which was the pre-show match for Over the Limit, could have been that for WrestleMania. If they're the tag team champions, then they're the tag team champions, and the champions should be on the main show. And right now the champs are R-Truth and Kofi Kingston, mainly because they're fan favorites, so why not give them the belts? The fans love them, so give them the belts, give them something to hold, and that's the only reason why they have them. Only reason why they have them. I heard, of course, you can go back and watch my other videos. I talk about Alex Shelley leaving TNA. I don't know why Triple H, if it was Triple H who recruited or went after getting Alex Shelley, why he didn't take Chris Sabin with him. I think the Guns would have helped rebuild the tag division, but it is what it is. And I think the tag division, I thought at one point they were trying to maybe bring it back a bit, but it's just the same old stuff, the same old throw it together tag teams, and it's just not exciting to watch. You know, you want legit looks and feels like a tag team, and R-Truth and Kofi, I feel, are just thrown together and pieced together because they're fan favorites, and they decided to put a title on them to pump them even more, pump their merchandise, you know. Last thing I want to talk about, so we've talked about the stables, about how I like them, how I think it's great that if Vicky can pump hers up a little bit more, and we can get a couple more managers with some with their own stables, it'll make things a little interesting, and I think they can just bring some more general interest to matches that might not have it, especially Survivor Series matches where the last couple of years we've just seen these thrown together kind of last minute matches. Tag teams, I feel that the tag team division was at maybe one point they were trying to rebuild it, but it's just fallen short, and it just doesn't mean anything. The titles aren't being used right, and Kofi and R-Truth are simply champions because they're fan favorites, and they just wanted to put the belts on someone the fans knew, I guess. And lastly, I want to talk about Chris Jericho. The recent acts of Chris Jericho were in Brazil at a show. Someone threw a flag into the ring. Jericho, being a bad guy, a heel, picked it up, crumpled it, and kicked it out of the ring. Doing a heel thing. And then the cops storm the ring, and they're going to arrest him for being disrespectful to the flag. And it's a show. Chris Jericho was not genuinely being disrespectful to the flag. He was putting on an act. He was putting on a show. If Chris Jericho at the airport pushed a flag over, then yeah, they could arrest him because that's showing disrespect to the flag or whatever. But that's Chris Jericho being himself. That's being Chris Irvin, I guess you could say. Chris Jericho's real name. You know, then that's Chris Jericho being Chris Irvin. But if he's in the ring, he's Chris Jericho. He's right now a bad guy. He's just doing his job. And I don't think Chris Jericho intentionally, you know, did anything wrong. He just thought he was just putting on heat. He was just doing his job. I know a lot of people were saying it's a pretty coincidence that Jericho's been suspended for 30 days, and I think it covers the span of his Fozzy tour, but I'm from Jericho's hometown, and you know, he was on the front page of the paper the next morning, so I don't think they could they would report on an angle. This obviously had to have happened, but I've heard a lot of people say it was a work or it was an angle, but it genuinely happened. You know, they escorted Jericho out of the ring and out of the country, and it's crazy. It really is that, you know, a heel can't be a heel. You know, that you're gonna start going to countries and you can't do certain things. You know, how are you supposed to do your job? You know, if people start getting, this is a show. It's not a personal attack, but it's kind of sad to see that when there's a show and it's just entertainment, and at the end of it, that these people differ from how they are in and out of the ring, or at least most of them do, that, you know, it can be taken way too seriously. I'm sure WWE is loving it because they're getting all this media attention, But it's unfortunate for Chris Jericho, and it's unfortunate for heels and for faces. Because a face, who knows, a face may hug a fan, maybe a woman, maybe in a country where women aren't allowed to be hugged. Or is he going to get arrested and thrown out of the building? Are they going to arrest John Cena, throw him out of the country? You know, would they arrest John Cena for hugging a fan because it was a woman or something? You know, I think it changes a whole new way. It's just like Fit Finlay. He thought he was doing a heel thing. He thought he was instructing The Miz to do a heel thing. Fit Finlay was, of course, came down to the ring with Hornswoggle and he did the whole Irish thing, and he eventually stopped appearing on TV as much. It was just a backstage agent, you know, helping prepare matches, get matches ready, and people understanding what they're doing. And during a house show, there was some National Guards, and he instructed Miz to interrupt the national anthem. Because, you know, Miz thinks he's bigger than everything, that everyone should be paying attention to him. That he's the best. He's the most watched WWE champion in history of the WWE. So he thought he was doing a heel thing. And Fit Finlay got fired. So, you know, it's almost like, I guess we'll all be nice guys and we won't do anything wrong. But then who wants to watch that? Wrestling's good against evil. And that's the roots of it. So that's my thoughts on that. Thanks for watching. Go back and watch everything else on my channel. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time.